Bueno, good evening, everybody. So we're actually very excited tonight because this is our first ever masterclass that we have prepared to share with everyone at the Rare Spirit Society. So being the first one, being Luis' birthday last week, he wanted to make sure that everybody came today to celebrate, and so we're here. So we of course invited everyone from our speakeasy group at the Rare Spirit Society, our sugar canes, and everyone that wanted to join and see Luis share his knowledge, his wisdom about the Solera, which is we will see quite a controversial. Everybody has their own meaning and description of what Solera is. So today we're going to learn especially about Solera, the general Solera, but also especially about how Santa Teresa is doing their Solera system in Venezuela, right? And so, Luis, happy birthday!
Thank you very much.
Let's go.
Happy birthday, let's go.
Well, really want to say right off the bat is thank you guys, Antonio and Luigi, for having me. It's an absolute privilege. I cherish these times, these moments. It's great to be back at Sir Byron's. First time around, we did like 3 hours, and that was because we had like plenty of rum and we didn't know how it was gonna go. But we promise this is gonna be a shorter version. We're gonna be around here for about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, if questions and discussions get heated. So here we go and see if we can move. Yes, thank you, Sir Byron. Hallelujah. It's a spirit. It's a spirit that comes to life. For those of you who haven't had the privilege of meeting before, I'll just introduce myself. I'm Luis. Let me just put this away so you can see the rest of the screen.
No, they can see it. Soy yo.
Okay, and I've been working for Santa Teresa, within Santa Teresa for 15 years. My first stage was back in the UK in 2004, and then I moved to Spain, started working something completely different, and rejoined the rum business in 2011. That adds up to well over a decade, just spreading the gospel, Santa Teresando, Rongelizando, all over the world. And my mission has pretty much always been to promote Santa Teresa 1796. Of course, we work with other expressions. We work with the Añejo, we've worked with the Bicentenario, but 1796 is the one and only priority for us worldwide. And having to defend this rum in on-trade, off-trade, online, offline, there is a concept that we like to promote. And Santa Teresa 1796 is a triple-aged Solera rum. Hence, Antonio and Luigi considered that appropriate that I came to talk to you about Solera. And the title said Masterclass, and I appreciate the faith. I wouldn't consider myself an expert in Solera. I wouldn't consider myself an expert in anything, really. But I do like talk about rum, and I enjoy the discussion. So what I would like to share with you is what is Solera, how we do it in Santa Teresa, some other examples. But to answer the very first question is, what is Solera? And this is a very refined definition that I had at the UK Rum Fest. This was many years ago. And someone come up and say that Solera was Spanish for bullshit. Now, I took it quite hard. I say, why are people trashing it? Why is there such a bad name for what I consider to be such a beautiful thing? And the answer was that over time, Solera, the term was misused. But I won't get too much into that. or at least not right now, right off the bat. So we might just have that discussion after. But honestly, what I really wanted to share with you is what are the origins and the uses and the technique of Solera as a system, how we do it in Santa Teresa, which by no means is the absolute correct way, just the way that we do it. And then I'll show you some other ROMs and with their examples, the labels, and their age statements. We can talk a bit about what critics the system has. And of course, there is a time for questions and answers. So by all means, do write in the chat or interrupt me, and we'll make the most of it and drink some rum in the meantime. So
where can I, if I want
started,
to write, where can I do a chat if I want to write something in between? I
there's a chat, yes.
haven't been here for a while.
If you go to more below on your right of the Zoom screen, you hit more, and there's gonna be a chat button.
I don't have a more button.
Well, in that case, just interrupt me.
Yeah.
Oh, I think this is the one. No, it's annotate.
Yes.
No, wrong one. Anyway, I can talk.
Well, yeah.
My mouth works. That part does work.
Good. Do interrupt. Do ask questions.
you
Do correct me. Do participate and join the fray. So, in terms of origin, Solera, where does this come from? And to talk about Solera, it's important to understand where it comes from. And the origin, it's in Spain, is in Andalusia, in southern Spain, and there is a place near the coast, which is Cadiz and Jerez, and this triangle where a very particular kind of wine is produced, what we call the sherry wine. However, it's not always been called sherry wine, and it's not always used Solera. That came after. We can say in this area, they've been producing, there is records of wine making 1,000 years before Christ. In Spanish, we say AC, is BC for English. And this area would be called Shera. And then with the Moorish invasion, it became Sherish, and eventually became Jerez. And the reason this was called the traveling wine is because this was a gateway to go all the way around the Mediterranean and to take this wine to Rome, to northern Africa, to the Middle East. And in near the 12th century, through the trade with England, the sherry wine made its way up to northern Europe. And there is a tale of history that says in 1587, Francis Drake sacked the city of Cadiz, and he took 3,000 barrels back to England. And these barrels of distinct wine made its way into court, and it just made it trendy. People just started loving the sherry wine in England back in time. So what happened was that there was a lot of interest, foreign interest, coming into Andalusia, to Jerez, to produce, to buy, to trade with wine. And there were lots of local producers that were partnered together who would produce the wine. So you had the producers and the merchants. And there's a lot of historical facts which I'm not too familiar with, but what happened is that demand outgrew supply by a long margin. And hence the producers came up with the Solera system towards the end of the 18th century, right about the time where Santa Teresa was founded in 1796. Well, in the late 1700s, they created these impressive cellars. They call it cathedrals, and they would stack barrels in rows, one on top of the other, and created this system of soleras and criaderas, which what it was proposed to do is they will help the producers join together various harvests or harvest from various wine producing lands. Also, there was a strong need to have a steady supply and stable quality of wine. So they would marry the mother wine with new wine, and at the end, you eventually get the same quality. So you will stabilize the production. Also, wines, they were starting to be kept longer. The trend and the fashion ask for darker wines with higher alcohol, with stronger flavors. So adding alcohol to the wine stopped being just a means to keep it from going foul, and it actually became a technique to add layers of complexity and flavor. And this way, the bodeguero, the cellar keeper, could choose what kind of wine he wanted to produce. And adding that spirit actually became a technique. You could choose when to add the spirit, how much grape spirit to add, and that will give you the variety of sherry wines that you would have today. So this is a brief take on sherry wine and Solera. And what I would like to do is take you through the process of making Santa Teresa rum using the Solera system. But before, I'll give you a bit of background. In 1996, we celebrated the first 200 years of foundation of the hacienda. It was founded in 1796. So to mark the bicentennial, we wanted to produce something special. It's not every day that you turn 200 years old. So in 1986, the talks in the hacienda began of, okay, what are we going to do to celebrate 200 years? And one of the things that Master Blender decided was to restart the pot still distillation. We would have done pot still since the beginning up to 1905, I think it was. Don't quote me on this, but early 1900s, we shifted from pot still to column still, and technology made us more efficient and allowed us to produce more alcohol using the columns. But then when 1996 was around the corner, just 10 years down the line, we restarted pot still distillation to think about this new blend for the 200 years. And when the time came, Master Blender came to the CEO and president of the company, Alberto Folmer, the fourth generation, father of the current CEO, and presented Bicentennial. And it was an amazing blend. He had the column seal and the craft seal, and he would use some of the very old reserve the family had. And they tasted it, and it was, wow, this is an amazing blend. How much can we produce of these? Master Blender said, well, I think we can make about 1,000 liters a year. Now, that's really good rum, but if we really want to celebrate 200 years and take our rum from Venezuela to the rest of the world, we cannot settle for only 1,400 bottles every year. We need something that would allow us to make great rum at scale. And just a little publicity check here. We have relaunched Bicentenario recently under this new packaging. You can find it in global travel retail, that's airports and duty-free shops, with this new image. But back to our rum. When Master Blender was given the challenge to create the rum for the next 200 years that will give us both quality and scale, he came up with a Triple H Solera rum system. Is there a question, sorry? No? Okay.
Yes, I have a question. Can I serve myself a little bit?
You shouldn't be asking. This is Sir Byron's for round.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna go with you through the AAA Solera system that we use, and the reason is, like you said earlier, coming back to why Solera don't need to offer the market a steady supply with stable quality. That's what Solera as a whole does in principle. So our Solera is composed of 3 stages of aging, 3 aging. So we have the first, the traditional aging, then the Solera cask, and lastly, the Solera vat. So starting at the beginning, what we would do is we would distill both with column stills and pot still, light alcohol from the 4th column, heavy alcohol from the 1st column, and pot still artisanal alcohol. And these 3 types of alcohol are going to be aged separately in white American oak barrels. And this is going to be steady, it's going to be fixed, it's not going to be dynamic.
Is
the
that
time,
bourbon or fresh? Sorry,
what?
bourbon
Say?
barrels or fresh barrels?
White American oak, second use,
Okay, yeah, bourbon. Okay.
ex whiskey bourbon, yeah. And the time here would oscillate from 4 up to 35 years. And eventually, when the maturity is right, master blender will pick and mix from a variety of cask that are either light, heavy, or pot still, and can be as young as 4, as old as 35, but there's a lot in the middle. It can be up to 20, even more constituent rums that conform the blend. So when the rum has matured, master blender will pick, like I said, 20 odd constituent rums to create a blend. And people often ask me, what are the proportions? First answer is, I don't know. But I don't know because there is no fixed proportion. This is not a recipe. It's not a button that you would press and you get different kinds of ingredients to create a final blend. It's actually master blender and the team who would choose and pick and mix. And the challenge here is to arrive at the same result with different ingredients, because not every year you would have the same outcomes in the barrels. So there is no fixed proportion as to how much light, how much heavy, how much pot still, how much of the young, how much of the old. What I can tell you though is that the light rum provides the base, the canvas, the alcoholic canvas on which we start adding colors and flavors with the heavy rum. So we're gonna have a lot of light, a bit less of heavy, and then you have the sparkle of the touch of the craft pot still rum, which is very deep in flavor and is there to enhance the complexity. So in this period, what we achieve is a lot of complexity, lots of flavor, the touches of wood and vanilla and even tobacco, and it's all there because of this first aging is where you reach the complexity. Then we would move on to the second aging, which is the Solera cask. So we have age and we have blend. At this stage, most rums are ready to go out to the market. But remember, this is not most rums, at least not for us. So that blend is taken to the second stage, which is this Solera. And as you can see in the image, it's 4 layers of barrels that are stacked vertically, not a pyramid as you would normally see a Solera. Ours is a vertical Solera. And please notice there is no connections between the barrels. Everything I'm about to tell you is done manually. So the Solera cellar is filled with the mother rum. The mother rum is the original rum that we fill the Solera with in 1992, 4 years prior to the launch of Santa Teresa, 1796. So we have a mother rum inside the Solera. What we want now is to take only half of the contents of the bottom row, the ones closer to the ground, which in Spanish is suelo, and suelo gives name to Solera. So we'll take the half of the bottom row, and that goes on to the third stage. We'll then take half of the third row and manually pass it on to top up the fourth. We take half of the second row to top up the third, and so on until you have 4, 3, and 2 filled up, and the top row is half empty. All this remains mother rum. The blend that comes from the first stage is then introduced at the top end to marry the mother rum, to become mother rum. And therefore, eventually you end up with the barrels again full. Moving on to the third, and I will go through this again with a video that explains it very well. I'm sure some of you have seen it. And just to give you, before we move on, sorry, why do we do this? Why is so painstaking? Because we want consistency. We want balance. We want the mother rum to upbring. That's what crianza means, upbringing. The new rum, which is it's not new because it's been aged, but the rum coming. So what you do here is create an homogeneous blend. What you create here is the balance of the 1796. Eventually we'll move on.
Tuyo porque no tengo más en esa cuenta, porque esa cuenta yo la uso sí que sí para los gastos y eso, y ya la dejo en cero porque estoy empezando el mes y no me han pagado.
I'm sorry for that. So once we finish this cascade downwards, we move on to the third and final stage, which is a Solera vat. And these are big vats, 19,000 liters, that follow the same principle, which is we only empty them partially. We never fully empty the vats. They are emptied partially, no more than half, and that goes to bottling. But the half that remains will receive the liquid coming from the second stage. And hence we have a second crianza. We have a second upbringing. Now, these vats, they're huge. So the contact of the liquid with the wood is not that significant. What we have here is a final rest, a final maduration. And as Master Blender Nancy puts it, this is where 1796 acquires its smoothness. Thanks to this final vat, you'll have a smooth spirit that is not rough on the throat. Now, there's two ways to find smoothness in spirit. One of them is this, and the other one is adding sugar. But and again, I'm not criticizing here. If you like your street rums, please knock yourself out. We prefer to elaborate dry rum, and we add 2 grams of sugar per bottle, just to round up the flavor, just to balance it out. I don't add salt to my food to make it salty. I add salt to enhance the flavor. So we are a smooth rum, and that smoothness comes from the Solera, not from adding sugar or additives. So just to go back through the process, and this is a soundless video. Oh,
they're asking here, what type of wood are the vat built?
I understand, and I would need to get back to you on this, that there are French Limousin that formerly held cognac. But again, it's such an old wood that the former spirit doesn't really have an impact. And they're so big that the wood type is less relevant. but as I understand, it's a French Limousin, French oak. So I don't know if I can play this video.
Another question, if you
Please,
play,
please, by all means.
every bottle contains 2 grams of sugar, correct? Does this rum contain any additives?
It's an excellent question. Additives. We add sugar. There is no hiding this. What we do say is a minimum amount. In fact, there is a hydrometer test that will measure the density of the spirit. And sometimes the hydrometer test would give you a added content of 0 to 5 grams, meaning it's so little, it cannot even be detected. And further to that, each bottle is standardized in color coming from sugarcane caramel. This caramel is actually bitter. So if you overdo it, you spoil the flavor. It's not to add sweetness. So additives, tiny bit of sugar, tiny bit of caramel to standardize color. Apart from that, all the flavors, all those notes, all that vanilla that we mentioned earlier, and the wood and the tobacco. Chocolate, even the spice comes first from the fermentation and then is enhanced during the aging process. So I hope that answers the questions about additives. Any more questions down the line? No?
Not yet.
Well, for some reason, Zoom is not allowing me to play this video, but it's online. I'll share with you, but it basically goes in a very schematic way how rum is produced in Santa Teresa. No,
That's
it
the
just
one
goes on
that's the one that's in the group. So
Yes,
everybody should have it, can have it, unless they arrived later. Yeah,
I think someone shared it in the group, but I'm happy
I liked
to
it very
share
much. It's very very nice.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It basically comes to explain that the one thing that we have agreed as rum producers is got to be made of sugar cane. Apart from that, everyone is pretty much free to do what they like, and I'm generalizing here. Don't want to get too technical on the regulations, but we grow our own sugar cane. So Santa Teresa is a sugar cane plantation since the beginning. We use our very own saffra and that of our neighbors, and then that sugarcane is crushed, milled. You extract the sugarcane juice, from which you take the sugar to use at home, and the byproduct is the molasses, which is then fermented using yeast. Here you start getting heat and alcohol, of course, and the flavors are generated here. And I want to share with you a quick anecdote. Some of you might have seen in the chat that I was very fortunate to visit Aberfeldy in Scotland last week, and I saw the fermentation tanks there where they were fermenting the malted barley, and it was amazing because the climate was nice and cool Scottish weather, about 20-21 degrees. But then if you put your hands on top of the tank, the fermentation tank, it would rise up to maybe 30 degrees, and it would be nice and warm. And it was really exciting to not seeing, but actually feeling what fermentation is like. So you would get the heat and the CO2. So there was lots of bubbles, and obviously the alcohol was being produced at the time with the yeast and the sugars from the malted from the malt. And the same happens with the molasses. You add a yeast, the molasses still contains sugar, and that sugar becomes alcohol. Also, you get CO2, you get lots of bubbles on the top, and you would get what we called congenerics, which is a made-up word. And it basically, these are what gives you the flavor profiles of the spirit after. Then we move on to distillation. I spoke about this earlier. You have the light rum, and maybe we can taste some, but well, it's not gonna be fun for you guys on the other end. Well, this is an example of the light rum. That is the base coming from the 4th column. Then if you extract it on the 1st column, you will get the heavy rum, These are not up for sale. These are just for tastings. First one comes out of the still at about 95% ABV. This one comes out about 75. So this is the alcohol base, and this is the flavor profile. And then eventually we would also have a bit of, ooh, what is this? Ah, here it is. Pot still rum. This is the one that was made exclusively to produce 1796 and Bicentenario in order to celebrate 200 years of rum making. And then we move on to the Solera, which I just went through, traditional aging, blend that moves on to the Solera barrels, Solera casks, that's full. So we need to activate, taking half of the bottom and then having the cascade until we have half empty at the top where the new blend comes in. And eventually that all moves to the Solera vats. It's very unfortunate that we don't have the video online, but we can share it afterwards. And
We have a question
yes, please, fire away.
from Alejandro. He says, which is the difference in the Solera process in the new limited editions of 1796, the coffee and the Speyside?
Beautiful question. I appreciate it. So the difference in the Solera is none. It's the same Solera system. 1796 is triple edge Solera rum, and these new expressions are limited edition of this, meaning the process of making it is the same. However, to make this a limited edition, we added an extra step. In the case of a Speyside, after it leaves the vat, after the third stage of maceration, it goes into Scottish barrels that previously held Speyside whiskey. So Master Blender went to Scotland, purchased those barrels, brought them back to Venezuela, and 1796, after the vat, goes into this Speyside cask for a further 13 months, meaning that the spirit, the rum, will impregnate itself with the whiskey that was embedded in the wood of the Speyside barrels. For the coffee, it's similar in the sense that it's a fourth stage. So stage 1, 2, and 3 are the same, but upon leaving the vat, it gets mature for a few months in cask that have been curated using cold brew coffee that has been infused with aged rum. After we empty the barrels with this cold brew coffee infused in rum, we introduce the alcohol coming from the vat, and hence 1796 gets impregnated with these lively coffee notes. I have to say, I haven't tried it yet. It's available in Venezuela, it's available in the US. We haven't got it in Spain just yet, but I hope we get it soon. And when we do, we'll do a limited edition tasting at Sir Byron's.
They're asking also, is the 100% pot still also available for sale or just for demonstration?
No. I'm sorry. I'm sure this is what some would call a pure single rum, meaning a rum made out of pot still in a single distillery. As of today, and I don't see any changes in the foreseeable future, this is only used as an ingredient of the blend. So no, you cannot find this bottle commercially. But if you come to Spain, I'm very happy to share one with you. And I'll tell you something, it's delish. It's fucking amazing.
I want to try it.
Please go ahead.
Could be an interesting limited edition.
I think about it often, and well, I'm not saying no. I'm not saying not now.
Yeah.
So eventually, every bottle of Santa Teresa 1796, let it be Speyside coffee or traditional 1796, is wax sealed. It's finished manually. So no two bottles of 1796 are the same. And if I may, although we're talking about Solera and not something else, I must share with you something that is very significant for us. And it's the fact not only that it's made out of wax manually, but the hands that do this job are hands that formerly held guns, and people that were gang members who have now given them up to become rum craftsmen. So through Project Alcatraz, we have created a new era in the town around Santa Teresa, where violence is left behind, and now these people would actually be holding these to craft rum, and I think that's beautiful, and it's one of the things that I love about working for this brand and this product. But leaving that aside, let's move on and let's talk about Solera, which is what we're here for. Is there any chats? Question in the chat? Sorry.
Well, some Mirza is saying she's coming in September, so save her some pot still. Luis, will you be in Panama for the Rum Fest?
No, I'm not traveling too much these days. I would love to join you in Panama. I've never been to Panama, but do send an invitation, and I'll send my boss and have them say no. But sorry, what was before the Panama? The boss. Yes, follow me on Instagram. Get in touch. Luis Viera, run Santa Teresa, right? DMs. Also, we're in the chat. But yeah, do get in touch if you're in Madrid. I'm very happy to do tastings and talk rum and be merry. So, examples and age statements as we move on to the last 15 minutes. And I have an unfounded theory. This is my thoughts. This is no one else's. And I'm speaking not as a brand ambassador, not as a Santa Teresa man. This is Luis Viera, a rum lover, who thinks there's a reason why Solera became such a popular term. And there's a fact that nearly all rums are blends. There's obviously examples of unblended rums, single casks, pure single rums. I mean, there's lots of examples, but as a whole, if you look at the rum category as a whole, over 90, don't want to get my fingers caught in number, but nearly all rums are blends. The thing is that the term blend is not that sexy, and if you mention it to someone in the spirit business, or not even in the business, just regular consumers, blend, it takes me to Scotland. It takes me to blended Scotch whiskey. So the term blend has already been taken, if you will. And strictly speaking, Solera is blending. Solera is marrying rum with the one that is been resting in the barrels before, or like the wine. So Solera is a kind of blend. So it's my opinion that the marketing people thought, if we cannot say the blend because it's not sexy, let's just call it Solera. And it became a popular word in the rum industry. Problem is that because it became so popular, maybe, just maybe, it lost its meaning. And that's why in the UK, people were trashing it so harshly, saying that Solera just means bullshit. Just means you just want to tell me something that means nothing. And I understand the critics. So
sorry, Luis.
Yes.
So you think that the people were using the word Solera without really doing the 4-row I don't know how you call it, process. Yeah.
Remember that rum is very free, and you can do your rum pretty much however you like. Not even his parents drink. So there is no one way of doing Solera. In fact, traditional Spanish Solera for wine, like I said, at least a pyramid, but we don't do pyramid, we do vertical. Some people do 3 rows, we do 4 rows. So I'm not gonna say there's a right or wrong way of doing Solera. However, for me, Solera is having a mother rum or a mother wine that you add up to it in order to get a different, a constant result. The problem arose when you're not adding to a mother, but you're just blending, which is nothing wrong with blending. I mean, we do it. I mean, with the Añejo, the Santa Teresa Gran Reserva, it's a blend, and that's fine. I don't mind. I mean, long live the blends. The problem is when you called a blend Solera. And I think that's what happened in many cases. And I don't want to point any fingers because I'm no authority and I'm not here to talk about other people doing right or wrong. But there are some examples, and I'll share with you, of bottles that state Solera. So you have Matusalem and Zacapa and even Bacardi had Solera in their bottles. And what I do have an issue, and again, I'm not pointing fingers, but what I would like people to explain to me is why would you hold a number? Because when you have a number, you're expressing age, but Solera gets rid of age, gets rid of the number. So again, I'm not saying right, wrong. They can do as they please, but just Solera became a popular term that some people use, and some might go through the painstaking process of having a mother rum. Some others don't. I haven't visited any distillery that I can tell these guys do it or these guys don't. So again, it's just examples of Solera rums in their labels, and hence the critics. The critics say that sometimes people refer to the system as traditional Solera. And in fairness, there is nothing traditional about Solera in rum. Solera is traditional in sherry wine. But when it comes to rum, it's the exception, not the tradition. So it's fair that people critic Solera when saying, well, the traditional method. No, it's not. It's not. It's particular. It's unique. Another critic, and it's like I said earlier, is when you have the number and Solera. It's like, well, you cannot have the pie. I need it too. So you can have an age statement. I have no issue with that. Or you can have a number. That's fine. But when you start using Solera and a number, I think that's not a favor to anyone. And I'm sure there are many critics of the system, especially when it's not explained. But what I do want to get out of this session is that you guys have been so generous with your time, your attention, is to come out with a clear idea that not always Solera is balloony. You can have proper Solera, or at least what we consider a real craft and painstaking and careful process of creating a rum that marks, like I said earlier, 200 years. So with that said, this is a beautiful time to questions and answers and discussions. We have another 8-10 minutes to talk about it, and if not, that's more time to drink.
We have
Can I add
some
something?
Please, by all means.
A lot of people know the Solera system, and then we all see that 4 layers diagonal, yeah, stacked up. That is an old-fashioned way. There is plenty sherry at this moment, as we are talking here now, that doesn't see any wood in their entire life. They stay in stainless steel. For the Spanish, the Solera system, for the sherry people, it's simply about blending, indeed, because that is the proper word, blending younger ages with older ages. And the wood, especially for sherry, is totally not important. The wood would be too strong for a floor. The floor is too subtle, that is delicate, that is light. That is a whole different thing. In the rum industry, wood is important, so you have much more the importance of that part. So there is much more focus on that. But everybody, especially if somebody in England or not in England, that says that's baloney and Solera is bullshit, they only look at that traditional, that old-fashioned style of doing it, while these days hardly any sherry sees wood. They don't. If somebody says baloney, bullshit, or whatever, they don't know what they talk about. I don't care who said it. I say that blindly. They don't know what this is about.
No,
But they don't.
I appreciate it.
They mostly don't dare to talk to me, so they know I bite.
Good. Yes, I mean, Solera is blending. Fair enough. And
Yeah,
when it
but
comes to
the important with very old, if you go to whiskey, which of course is always compared, if you see 12 years on a whiskey, the oldest is maybe 14. If you're lucky, it's 15. That is not Solera. That's also blending, but that's not Solera. It's indeed what you say. You have 4 years and you have 35 years. That is Solera. And each year you add a little bit and you take a little bit. That is the Solera. And the rest is just yeah, an extra creation, a twist of the original, whatever the original is.
And if I may add, it's very common, particularly in wine. And again, it's not a critic; it's just a comment to add fresh wine to the old Solera. And it's very common when people do it in rum and spirits to add new spirit or unaged rum to the mother. And again, that's fine. Go knock yourself out. But one important thing for us is that we are adding to the Solera an aged blend. It's actually what we have here. It's, oh, where is it? The relleno. Here we go. So this is a relleno, this is Solera refill. This is the actual rum after the blend. So it's been already aged. And this goes to marry the mother rum. So we're not just adding fresh rum or fresh spirit. We're adding like proper rum to the Solera to give it continuity. So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say right or wrong. This is just how we do it, and I hope you guys appreciate all the hard work that goes into it.
A question on that. The misconception of Solera, this is Jaiker, the misconception of Solera process is based in the fact some producers try to put a number that really don't represent the real age time of the rum to gain advantage, he's asking.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, when you look at the label, we're all competing. We're all competing for people's attention. We want to get, I mean, a consumer would have hundreds of thousands of bottles to pick from. And numbers are one of the very first things that we learn when we are like children. So we know that 10 is more than 5, and we know that 20 is double that. So there is a perception that the older, the better. And it's a common misperception. And I can see that happening in whiskey because the aging in Scotland, it's so slow that, wow, to have something 12 years old there is like, I'm going to tell you that everything in this bottle has been at least 12 years. However, rum is different. Rum ages very quickly in the Caribbean. To have something that is minimum 12 years old, that's going to be like chewing on stick. So, and plus the angel share is going to drain your profits real quick. So I'm not a fan of putting numbers of labels, particularly when it comes to rum. And but yeah, people do it. People put a number to make it perceive like a better quality. But when it comes to rum, for me, it's not about aging. It's not about numbers. It's about blending. It's about balance. So yeah, people do it. Fine, go away. I mean, knock yourself out. Venezuelan law doesn't allow us to do it. By Venezuelan law, we have the Denominación de Origen Controlada, or DOC. I don't know if you can see it in the bottle right there. But DOC basically states that the rum has to be made in Venezuela. It's got to have a minimum of 40% alcohol, minimum 2 years of aging, and should not have numbers in the labels that refer to the aging. Does that mean that people do it, don't do it? Some people do it, some people don't. I mean, I'm not gonna be here like pointing fingers at anyone, but my personal opinion is that numbers are misleading. That the problem, or a problem that the rum category has compared to whiskey, is that there is no clear way of defining or classifying. And if numbers help people make choice, then go ahead. I'm not gonna be putting numbers anytime soon in my bottles. Sorry.
Rene is asking, could you please show again the picture where we can see the 3 types of Solera aging?
Beware, it's not 3 types of Solera. It's 3 types of aging. Traditional aging,
That's
which
3
is not
different
Solera.
styles, yeah.
Yeah.
Technically, number 3 is not aging, but that's a different discussion.
I
Because of the size, yeah.
I see your point. We had a legal discussion about this, and if it spends more than a year in a wooden container, it can be called aging. I see your point, but yes, it is Solera in the sense that we're never fully empty. It's aging in the sense
But that's
that
different, of course. That's different.
Yeah.
Solera, referring to Solera or referring to aging. Technically, it's not aging because it's, well, whiskey is allowed up to 750 liters, I believe. Can be 800, can be 700. But in that direction, that era, that range, mostly people stop calling, beyond, they stop calling it aging. 1,000-liter technically is not aging. But of course, it is resting and it does do a lot of things with the spirit. It's not doing nothing. It's never, even in the bottle, it's doing a lot of things. I'm specialized in old bottles. A lot of things happen even there. So in that Solera barrel, the big one, a lot of things are happening. Especially the mimicking of the older styles. The young rums mimic the old one faster. It's amazing.
See. Like, for example, I actually have here the 2 bottles. This is the Crianza. I don't know if you can see it in the screen. There's a Crianza de Barril. This is what comes out of the Solera. And this is the Solera vat. So I understand your point about being so big and therefore not being called aging. The sense is it does change, like you rightly said. And well, there's things going on in there. So you can say technically not an aging, fair point. For us,
it's a word thing. It's a word thing.
It's a stage of aging, but yeah, fair enough. It's a fair point.
But a lot of things are happening in that barrel. True.
Absolutely. Is that the question answered? Yeah.
Manuel Marin is asking, in what area do you think Santa Teresa can improve comparing with other rum brands?
What area?
How can, I don't know.
I wish I sold more.
Yeah.
I wish I sold the volumes of other people. I don't know, honestly. Someone mentioned earlier, and I agree that we would be doing a service to the rum lovers, the hardcore rum geeks, bottling the raw materials, the pot still, the heavy rum, the light rum, and some producers have done that. The fact of the matter is that it's not very business savvy. There are no good business propositions, and they're good for rum. They're good for the category. They're good for us rum geeks, but I don't think they're gonna be doing the business any good. So I wish we could bottle some of these expressions because they're very nice. They're very unique. But that's the rum geek talking. If I go to the business side of things, I think we should be sticking to our strategy. I think we should be promoting and educating on Solera and on 1796 and the Triple H system. Can we do things better? I guess we can. I'm sure we can. And if I knew how, I'll probably get promoted. But I'll take away the question and think about it. What else can we learn from other rum producers?
I propose something. More questions can come in, but while people are asking questions, we know there's something called cojonudo.
Oh, fuck
right?
yes.
So while you're answering questions, maybe you can Ahí está la copa. You can prepare for us. Explain first what is a cojonudo, and then we prepare one here in front of people so they learn how to make it.
Will do, absolutely. Any more questions coming down the line?
Let me see.
Which is your favorite rum?
My favorite rum. Well, there's two answers to that. My favorite rum is the one that gives puts food on my table and feeds my family.
Of course.
So that's gonna be my favorite rum, no doubt. But then again, I think there's different occasions and different rums and different times. This is obviously my go-to rum because I believe in it. I like it. I enjoy it. And if I can choose any, the one I will choose this one. However, I'm a big fan of funky Jamaican tastes. I really like. I enjoy agricole rum. I have grown real fond of cachazas. I think there is a cultural element to sugarcane that has been grossly overlooked. And I think that's a shame because we have focused on flavor. Then we start focusing on production techniques and in distillation. But for me, and this is something that I've come to realize rather recently, is that rum and cane spirits is real culture thing. So those small tiny cachazas distilled in Brazil with small bottles, that kind of thing. In Rio, in Minas Gerais, in Pret, all those things touch of fiber, and I enjoy the cultural side of the spirit as well as the spirit itself. So no favorite rum, no favorite brand. Each rum will have its own timing. If I'm sitting in Sir Byron's, I'll probably enjoy some beautiful Samai rum or some cask strength Jamaican or Caroni rum. If I'm by the beach, please give me a bottle of this. Give me a coconut and I'll knock myself out. You know, just go half. Coconut water, half and half.
Oh, really? I never. Okay, good.
But I mean, that just comes down to flavor. So the cojonudo comes obviously from cojones. I'm not gonna get too deep into that, but it's basically the idea that rum should not always be mixed with Coke. I mean, you can have a rum highball or lowball without having to go to the typical one. And for the cojonudo, what we're gonna do is 2 parts of Santa Teresa 1796, which looks something like this in this glass.
Wow.
And then 1 part, half of it, of sparkling water. And I like using sparkling water for 2 reasons. One of it, well, when you do water, you are not altering the flavor. You're just really watering down the alcohol content. But we don't want to drown it. We don't want to just get too much water in it. So we're only gonna go halfway. So 2 parts of rum, 1 part of a sparkling water. So
just a little bit.
it's like a splash. Yes, that's good. And then I'll open my fridge here.
Only a little bit like this.
We'll add some ice. Bear in mind that the Caribbean is rather hot all year round. So drinking neat, yes, you can have neat to taste, but it's only so much neat rum you can drink. So we'll add ice, splash of sparkling water, and then a twist of orange. And the orange bit, what it does is enhances those tropical notes that we find in the heavy rum that we obtain from the first column of distillation. Adds a bit of freshness and just makes it a more aromatic drink all around. So this is what a cojonudo looks like, and take my word for it. If you're with a bunch of friends, you put this on the table, big bucket of ice, bottle of Santa Teresa 1796 sparkling water, you're in for a treat. So it's now well past 7. I want to say salute. I don't want any questions unanswered. So unless there's any other questions in the chat.
Yes. Ramon Almao is asking, what are the biggest challenges that Ron Santa Teresa is facing right now?
I think right now, the fact that we're a rum producer from Venezuela and the eldest distillery, the eldest brand, this is a business that you cannot just simply take away. You cannot just dig up the hacienda and move it up to some other country. It's got to be there, and there is no moving it from there. So the fact that Venezuela is undergoing a very traumatic process, not only economically but socially, politically. I think that's a very heavy challenge that we need to be savvy and we need to overcome.
But what about Bacardi and Matusalem? Those are two examples of Cuban rums that had to dig their hole and like go to Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic, no?
Yeah, I mean, and Bacardi's doing fine, if you ask me. Again, if it came down to that, then so be it. But the fact is that we want to remain in the hacienda. We want to stay there. We've been there for over 200 years, and we wish to be there another 200 years at least. So I think it's a big challenge to remain in Venezuela. It's been a big challenge ever since the beginning. It still is today, and we just hope that the country first of all becomes peaceful, and the violence it dies, and hope for a prosper and free society where we can thrive as a country. I mean, like I said earlier, and it was not meant to be linked to this, rum is culture, and Venezuela is rum, and rum is Venezuela. And I truly hope that the country thrives so that the business thrives. So I think this is a very strong challenge that we have ahead of us. And I hope that the leadership within the company can navigate these troubled waters and take us to safe port. That's as much as I can say on that.
Cojonudo.
So that cojonudo that you're drinking, you said similar to which rum? What you said at the beginning, the drink. It looks similar to the color of the one they mix, correct?
I haven't been talking much about color, but yeah, I mean it's watered down rum.
Okay.
So it would look something like I don't know. I'll need to start comparing.
No, I guess I misunderstood. Okay, awesome.
But yeah, I mean, once you water down rum, obviously it becomes lighter in color, and you have this what I consider a beautiful drink. I mean,
yeah, that orange note is just a little bit, but it kind of defines what the cojonudo drink is all about, no?
Well, the thing is that when you do these sort of pairings, when you're doing a garnish on a drink, you're essentially pairing. And when you pair things up, you can do it to create a contrast, or you are doing it to create an enhancement. In this case, and this is my opinion, again, doesn't come from the marketing book, Santa Teresa has got a tropical fruity note that is hidden behind all the wood and the spice and the tobacco and the vanilla and the chocolate. So there is a fruity note there. Once you add water, it opens up. So you start getting a lot of more layers. And when you enhance with the orange, it just comes up and becomes a more fruity tropical drink, being just rum and water, sparkling water for that matter. Any more questions down the line?
Can you send Can you send the presentation and the recording? Can you send it to me, or maybe to everybody who wants it, of course? not just me, but
Yeah, definitely.
this
For
is
the-
nice to look back at. I liked it very much. I liked it very much. Very interesting.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Rampunk.
I mean, you seem like a person who's interested deeply in these matters, and I'm sure you've read a lot into it. So it's appreciate your compliments, and I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I
it
did,
it
I
will
did.
be.
And I
it
really
will be
think you
shared.
should make a set actually with all those varieties that Santa Teresa, yeah, that you have. That would be super. I would be game for that. That indeed, to show and taste. Of course, a tasting would be even better for me being in Madrid, but that's not going to happen soon. I wish, but that would be super, super. I would love to taste all the segments separately. That would be amazing. I like to compare all those things. I would love that. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
a great experience.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
But yeah, just to make it clear, yes, we will share the recording. I don't know about the presentation, if you can send it or it's a PDF.
I don't know. I'll look into it. I mean,
Yeah,
we're not sharing the major
I have
secrets
the other
yet,
one. I have the other one. So
But we definitely share the video. And yeah, as soon as we download it, we can share it with you guys for sure.
nice.
So
Thank you, guys.
if there's any more questions, just want to say once more, thank you all for your time. You've been very attentive and asking very relevant questions. I really appreciate. Well, thank you, Antonio and Luigi or Byron Rockets for having me. And this is the second time around, and they say there is no two without three. So I hope to see you guys soon in St. Byron's living room.
Definitely, man. You're always welcome for sure.
Thank you very much, all of you, and we'll speak soon.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Gracias. Thank you.
Salud.
Bye bye.
Nos vemos, salud.
Salud.